Hi there, very good morning, and of course, welcome to Smart Man's Business. It's yet another business day. I'm definitely here with Masi Kapsime to drive your business this morning. Well, of course, it's quite a little bit, the jam is a little bit tight out there, and I hope, of course, I always take life like a break every other day. Of course, we build something, of course, with the unintended goal and objective out there. But of course, regardless of that, there are always obstacles that come along your way to make you really stop achieving what you ought to achieve. But definitely, shall make it. The business has to keep moving on, regardless of what comes our way. Well, quite lots of discussions are coming up on the show. Very, very insightful. And remember, it being a budget week and the budget month above all, we shall be looking into something regarding the education sector in Uganda when it comes to the allocation for the financial year 2023-2024. But of course, before we get into any other discussion, don't forget the markets on the Zabu platform, which will be opening anytime soon. Now, for you to be a part of the, simply dial *292# and you'll be available with quite a number of options where you will be able to buy government bonds and securities for as little as 15,000 Ugandan shillings. Now, the markets will be opening at 8:15 a.m. till 3:15 p.m. and this is effective up to Friday, every Monday up to Friday, except on the weekends and the public holidays when the markets are inaccessible. But this week there are no public holidays, so there has been quite a number of days all the way from Monday, Tuesday, and now today, making money, trading all these stocks, and life just gotta get a little bit much more better as compared to the previously, because I always say you could make some trade deficits, and this could be one of the ways to offset them. Now, Zapu simply says, "Buy money, my future," and Altex East Africa says, "Do something new." Well, now heading straight into our morning call, this very particular moment, of course, we shall be looking at something to do with refined sugar imports, if that's in the country Uganda. Now, of course, Uganda sets 25p tariff on its refined sugar imports. Now, according to a report here, the local manufacturers can now breathe a sigh of relief after the government set a 25% tariff that is on refined sugar imports. Now, the Uganda Revenue Authority Assistant Commissioner, that is for Trade, Irene Molika, announced the new tariff in June 7th later to Uganda Manufacturers Association. Now, according to Ms. Molika, the import tariff is part the East Africa Community Raw Material Duty Remission Scheme. That is for 2023-2024. Now, the Uganda Revenue Authority said this represents a compromise position that protects the local producers, that is of industrial refined sugar, while also leaving the door open to imports for any user that requires it for technical reasons. Now, this is against the total ban of imports that has been proposed earlier. Now, the 25% duty is in line with the most other finished products produced in the country Uganda. Now, previously, producers of industrial refined sugar have been complaining about lack of market due to massive importation, but the move followed discussions between Uganda officials and their East African counterparts in Arusha, that is Tanzania, last week. Now, soft drink manufacturers are the major consumers of industrial sugar. Now, they had complained that the price for locally produced sugar per ton was already at a disadvantage compared with that of imported sugar. That is at $900, that is per ton. Of course, that is equivalent to 3.3 million Ugandan shillings per ton. Now, however, manufacturers told the government that the existing import duty remission scheme was being used by some industry users who claim higher consumption than what they actually use, and later divert the cheap imported sugar into the retail market. Now, some importers who use brown sugar have been importing that is refined industrial sugar as a substitute for brown sugar, especially when the sugar prices rise. Now, the manufacturers pleaded with the government to put in place measures that protect local refined industrial sugar production in the country and stop the abuse of the import duty remission scheme. Now, the government later realized that the abuse of the import duty remission scheme was affecting the export market, that is for the light brown and brown sugar within East Africa community partner states, hence causing a big challenge to the entire sugar industry. Now, it is against it is against this background that government decided to set import duty, that is for refined sugar, at 20, that is at 25%. Now, government has in recent years promoted local production of refined sugar purposely for import substitution, and of course creation of jobs and industrial linkages. Now it is expected that more industrial sugar producers will now come on board, since there is now an appropriate policy, of course, to place to protect them from the imports. Now officials now say the available refined industrial sugar stocks are enough to supply that is the local market needs, and of course not single product has gone off shelf because of lack of sugar. Now, while opening Uganda's first sugar industrial plant, that is in Kinyara, at Kinyara Sugar Limited in Masindi, that is in 2022, President Museveni said Uganda was losing about $50 million through importing refined sugar. Now he described the plant as a step in the right direction. Now Kinyara white sugar refinery had an installed capacity of about 60,000, that is per annum, before expanding the refinery to produce 75,000 per annum in early 2023. Now this expansion brought the refined industrial production capacity, that is to 120,000 MT per annum, which includes other producers like Mayuge Sugar and GM Sugar. Now Kinyara has exported more refined industrial sugar than what had been sold, that is locally. So that is something in there for the sugar manufacturers in the country, Uganda. Of course, despite the fact that we're into the East African community, we need to put into consideration there are some aspects that need to be really looked into much more deeper when it comes to protectionism, intellectual property, and so many other related aspects. Well, that is it for the morning call. And right about now, let's take a look at what's making headlines in the press. With me here, I have the New Vision, and Masika Tim is going to be taking us through the Daily Monitor. Now, to kickstart off with the New Vision, of course, what's really transpiring here, of course, we see court squashes 120 billion harm award and a loan agreement between Tycoon and Bank Legal. That is something in there to check out. Of course, a case which has been trending all over the media. And of course, we see oil drilling in 400 wells starts next month. Yes, so Uganda-China relations, and we see here still over 2,000 people are to benefit from Uganda and China relations. And of course, something we see Museveni out of danger, of course, regarding the COVID-19, and something happening in Kapeke here. Roadworks begin in August. What's going to be happening in there? So that's good news for the people from that particular area. I see, what do we have there on the Daily Monitor?
Oh, well, good morning, Uganda, East Africa, and the entire globe. Of course, today is Wednesday, and of course, as most of you well known, tomorrow actually will be the actual day for reading of the budget, and we have to inform you, get ready tomorrow, so that we can have a feel of the national cake. Now, with me, the Daily Monitor, of course, relief for bank after court rules on harm case. And of course, Renzo breaks into jubilation as their king is set free. Also, the president, of course, confirms that the COVID symptoms have gone, and that is it for the Daily Monitor, and we shall be digesting more.
All right, now, of course, still following the matters regarding the 2,000 jobs, 2,000 Ugandans to benefit from the China bilateral relations. Of course, come the year 2023, Uganda and China have set up quite some positive relations in that. And, of course, the ambassador told the reporters regarding these matters. So, Ugandans, it's time to put ourselves together to see how best we can actually benefit from these. The most important thing is that it's not just about having this whole idea that we have this bilateral understandings with this country, but it's very also key and vital for you to position yourself as a Ugandan. How best are you going to benefit from that? An opportunity is just going to bypass you as you're just looking on there. Of course, now regarding the Chilenga oil rigs, of course, the wells drilling 400 wells will be starting. That is starts July. Of course, just next month. And of course, it is fascinating driving on the Wanseko Kirama Road in Bulisa. That is the main project industrial area. That's according to, so you'll be getting out quite lots of more details from that regarding when you get yourself a copy of the new vision.
National Media Group and NSSF partnered to renovate public school. This is quite a good initiative, actually. Some of the private schools, I must say, are struggling, and of course it has brought about inconveniences when it comes to the education sector in the private schools. We see there are no facilities. I must say there are no facility. Schools do not have enough buildings, so if such an initiative comes along, that means the public schools will actually be in for it. You realize public schools compared to private schools, the fact that because it's government for the public schools, it's government. So because most of the cases they sort of struggle a bit.
Yeah,
I must say that the infrastructure, the buildings are they're old. So definitely this is a good scoop for them right there. And of course, still for the people of Rwenzururu, their king has been set free. And of course, right there, people are celebrating. And of course, he has spent quite some time. Actually, his case has been on and off, and of course the fact that he has been set free, that means the kingdom of Rwenzururu will be back on, and he will be actually back to be with his people.
Very interesting. Now, of course, in here we see people urge to use PDM money to campaign for President Museveni. That is, says Haji Kakande, of course, addressing stakeholders during the RSC's capacity building workshop. That was on Monday, and yes, you'll be taking out more of that. How is that going to campaign for the president? Now, members of parliament petition finance of Astol Iganga, that is Kamuli Road. Now, lawmakers from Busoga region have petitioned the finance ministry, that is over delayed release of funds that is meant to finance the construction of the Astol Iganga and Bulopa Kamuli Road. Now, of course, reports here say that according to legislators, the 57-kilometer road, that is whose breaking of the ground ceremony was presided over by President Yoweri Museveni, that is in 2020, has since stalled. So meaning there has been a little bit of delay from that. Now, of course, still further here, we see 15 arrested over illegal sand mining. Now, a team from the National Environment Management Authority, backed by the Environmental Police, has arrested 15 people over sand mining that is on Lake Victoria. And the arrest was made on Sunday during a sting operation mounted by a team, of course, by different teams in there. But of course, you see, sand is quite an important aspect, because we can attribute the flooding of the Katonga crossing over the bridge due to excessive sand mining, because some of the water that is held in there, of course we need it for construction purposes, but in most cases a majority is mined on the shores of the oceans. Of course, they are quite large water bodies, but when it comes to Lake Victoria, lakes, most especially domestic borne lakes, it can be a little bit tricky. Of course, it's done but regulated. You need to have a license for you to be able to mine it. And the reason why the environmental authorities come to regulate that, because they know the factors that are attributed, the challenges that are attributed when you actually mine it excessively, when you're careless. It has implications that is on the weather. All right, now still further, of course, as we take a look here, Museveni, of course, out of danger, says the family. Now, according to report here, Nzeire Kaguna, the younger brother to President Yoweri Museveni, has said the president is out of danger after the contracted COVID-19. That was last week, and of course, we'll be preparing any time to get back to execute his duties as the president. Now, still here, we see Matuga Kapeka Road works start in August. Yes, the works start in August. Now, Works and Transport Minister General Katumba Wamala has said that the government will ensure that they get money. They get value for money, rather, during the rehabilitation of the 41-kilometer Matuga Semutoka Peka Road that will cost about 217 billion Ugandan shillings. What do we have, Masi, on there?
Well, excitement for the people of Ruwero, of course, and they're excited about the road construction that is going to happen. Of course, the launch of the construction works for the Ruwero-Butagura road has excited a section of leaders and residents that the road actually will cover 29.7 kilometers, which passes through the Kato corridor. Is said to be upgraded to tarmac. So of course it's actually usually a call for excitement once you see infrastructure roads work to, that means business is going to be moving on well for the people of Ruwero right there. 29 kilometers is quite a long distance, and of course for those that have cattle and of course they need to move them from one place to another, it's quite easy and it's going to make transportation easier. Now people of Ntungamo district are embracing technologies to curb soil erosion. Technology includes the construction of gabions in deep gullies created by running water, contour trenches and terraces on hill slopes and valleys, check dams in valleys. So actually, I must say this is quite a great thing to do, using technologies as a way to curb soil erosion. We've seen many, if we could have such alternatives, you know, to fight natural calamities, or I must say natural disasters, that means we could actually survive. Because if you see alone, soil erosion comes with a lot of crops, animals, so it's you lose out as a farmer, as a person, as a farmer, and of course as a community as well. Mudslides, such calamities we've seen lives lost mostly in Kamale with the floods and landslides. It has been quite a challenging moment for them. But of course, if such initiatives come along, definitely we shall fight this and of course have our community intact. And of course our crops and animals still intact without losing anything. And of course our locals struggle to access clean water as borehole breaks down. That is of course the people of Tororo, residents and leaders in Tororo have raised concerns over the difficulty in accessing clean water due to the breakdown of several boreholes in the district. Now a report October 2022 compiled by the district water office indicates that the district has nearly more than 1,200 boreholes in the district, all broke down. This is quite challenging. If we could have all these boreholes break down, that means there has to be something to look into construction of those boreholes. What could have led to the breakdown of these boreholes? And of course, clean water. Clean water is very important. If you have clean water, that means you won't have waterborne diseases. I mean, you'll be healthy actually. So we advocate for much more of this. Or we could have dams. There are dams that can be dug, which actually have cleaner water. Have you noticed that the dams have much more clean water because they come underground? They're from underground, underneath. It's purely clean, and if at all they're not contaminated with cattle and all that. So I believe there has to be a specific, the ones for cattle and maybe the animals, and for us human. Reserve it, contain it, keep it clean. As long as there is that, then it is always an alternative when the boreholes and the like break down, and of course if there is no water in the area. Absolutely. So yeah. Okay. Of course, now here as we wind this up, there is something here from the Bank of Uganda monetary statement regarding June 2023, as in its meeting on 13th June, that was yesterday. The Monetary Policy Committee maintained that is the central bank rate at 10%, so nothing has changed. And according to some aspects here, the economy has demonstrated that is a notable strength and resilience amidst unpredictable global economic dynamics, and of course inflationary related pressures, which are, as we speak right now, a little bit easing. That's according to the Bank of Uganda. Now here we see Rotarians asked to reduce spending on alcohol. Now of course these people that are into the Rotary-related aspects, Rotary-related projects, who have jobs, been asked to reduce spending on alcohol, because they need to focus on helping out people, that most especially when it comes to education sector, paying for people's school fees.
feeding the hungry children on the streets, and so many other related aspects. So alcohol, probably, which seems to be one of the biggest aspects that takes their money. So they're being told to reduce on that. Now here, maybe.
Well, Bank of Uganda has maintained its central bank rate at 10 actually%. The Bank of Uganda yesterday maintained its policy rate, and that is the central bank rate at 10% for the third time, saying that the economy has demonstrated notable strength and resilience amid unpredictable global economic dynamics. I must say this is quite interesting for the people of Uganda right there. And of course, businesses record a 10th a month of growth. The economy actually, I must say, we are we're looking into the recovery, post-COVID recovery. Of course, we are growing.
All right, now, of course, right now, let's cross over and take a look at what's happening. That is into the world of traffic. Images we are observing in there coming in from the clock tower, according to the look of things. And, well, it seems to be a little bit congested. Yes, it's a little much congested according to the look of things in there. Those are vehicles that are coming in from town and they're heading towards Kansanga Kabalagala route, of course, to execute the different businesses. And yeah, it seems to, so if you're coming in from town and maybe that's your destination, well, according to the look of things, that's how the situation is like. It's a little tight there. And for the people that are coming in from Kabalagala road and probably you're crossing over towards Kampala, heading towards Kampala to execute business, you can still see the situation is a little bit tight in there. Of course, vehicles held in a space of about 3 to 5 minutes, sometimes later than that, coming in 6 minutes, just depending on what the traffic officer in there thinks. And yeah, it's the officers really in absolute control of the vehicles to make sure that there is absolute discipline there. So for the people, if you're coming in from Entebbe Road, from areas along Entebbe Road, and you're coming to town, well, it could be a little bit harder for you to reach in the required time that you ought to reach. Of course, if you take a look at the side of the Osapi Road, which leads to town, yeah, there is quite a number of people in there. And also, maybe for the people that are coming in from Kampala and you're heading towards Entebbe, you might find a fair deal for yourself. But you're coming in from Entebbe, you're coming in from Kansanga, as long as any of the routes that have been mentioned are linking towards this clock tower area, well, you might be delayed a little bit to reach in the required time, like how you ought to. So that is the situation like there, according to that, and I hope you will be able to make the right decision. You could find another alternative for the people that are staying in Bonga. You can actually branch off and connect to the access road. If you're lucky enough, you will be in position to reach in the required time. Well, it's 27 minutes past 7, and that is the situation like at the clock tower. Well, hope you decide rightfully. Well, now 3 minutes to 7:30. Of course, before we get into the break, don't forget the markets on the Zamba platform, which will be opening anytime soon. Now, for you to be a part of this, simply dial *292# and you'll be available with a number of options where you will be able to buy government bonds and securities for as little as 15,000 Ugandan shillings. Now, the markets will be opening at 8:15 a.m. and closing at 3:15 p.m. East African time, Monday up to Friday, except on the weekends and the public holidays. The markets are inaccessible. Yes, but at least you have the rest of the days to capitalize and make yourself quite some huge money. And this week, the rest of the public holidays. So you have the entire week, Monday up to Friday, for you to be making money as you are benefiting from the profits, of course, regardless, to lessen the pressure that you have towards your business, as this can be one of the ways you can cover up in case you make some sorts of losses or what we can call a straight deficits throughout the week. Now, Zabo simply says, my money, my future. And Alternative East Africa says, do something new for yourself this year, 2023. Now, let's get into the break. Definitely, when we return, we shall be taking a look at what's happening in the East African community, but of course, also the international business. Good morning.